Lexie Hull, you are one tough cookie. Getting elbowed by Kayla McBride one game, head-to-head collision with Gabby Williams the next game, and you don't complain, you don't whine, you don't flop, you don't beg for calls. You get up and you carry on about your business.
Lexie Hull walked onto the court with 2 black eyes and walked off with a busted lip.
And now she's sporting the bloody lip. She is as tough as they come.
Yet somehow, she destroyed Angel Reese's Chicago Sky and became the face of Indiana's most brutal win of the season, all without Caitlin Clark. But the real shock? What Hull revealed after the game has every WNBA fan buzzing right now. The Indiana Fever weren't supposed to be here. Their rookie sensation, Caitlin Clark, had just gone public with the crushing announcement that her season was over.
Not surprising at this point, but still incredibly disappointing. Caitlin Clark officially done for the 2025 WNBA season, as she and the Fever announced on social media. The Fever and Clark saying that she tried to get back on the floor. It appears that she just ran out of time, not able to get enough confidence back in her body as the season wraps up and the playoffs are likely about to begin for Indiana.
A stubborn groin injury never healed, and in her own words, she admitted, "Disappointed isn't a big enough word." That single update flipped the entire playoff race on its head. Without Clark, the Fever looked like a team destined to collapse. But it wasn't just Caitlin. Sophie Cunningham was out. Sydney Colson was sidelined with a torn ACL. Chloe Bibby and Ari McDonald were gone too. In total, Indiana lost nearly an entire rotation to injuries. And yet, the schedule didn't wait. The Fever sat in 8th place, clinging to playoff life by a thread. Every game mattered, and every possession carried weight. One stumble could open the door for the Los Angeles Sparks to snatch their spot. Meanwhile, their rivals, the Chicago Sky, came into the matchup, unraveling in their own way. Angel Reese, the rookie who built her reputation on toughness and rivalry with Clark, wasn't even available. She'd been suspended after tallying her 8th technical foul of the season.
Angel Reese receives her 8th tech, which will prohibit her from playing against the Indiana Fever. And 2, she's in some pretty hot water with her teammates about that Chicago Tribune article.
For Chicago, the absence symbolized chaos. For Indiana, it was an opportunity. That's the backdrop. A broken roster, a playoff race on the line, and Angel Reese sidelined as Indiana prepared to face Chicago. What happened next turned into the most dominant performance of the Fever's season. Lexie Hull didn't just play, she embodied Indiana's fight. She walked into the game still carrying 2 black eyes from a brutal collision with Gabby Williams just a week earlier. By the time the final buzzer sounded, she added a split lip courtesy of Camila Cardoso. Bloodied, bruised, and battered, but absolutely unbreakable. While most players would have begged for a seat on the bench, Hull never flinched. She strapped on her sneakers, battled through pain, and gave the Fever exactly what they needed: toughness. Every possession she played screamed resilience, and that energy poured into the entire team. Indiana didn't just edge out the Sky, they dominated them. The Fever crushed Chicago by 20 points, completing a perfect 5-0 season sweep. Average margin of victory, 24 points. That's not just winning, that's humiliation for Angel Reese's squad. Kelsey Mitchell led the charge, scoring 20 points while also dishing out 8 assists.
On a whole bunch of things. Oh, Kelsey Mitchell, she's 3 for 3 to start tonight.
She wasn't just hunting for her own shot. She set the table for her teammates all night long.
Will she add to it? Whips it back for Dantas. Kelsey Mitchell putting on a show here.
Right behind her, Natasha Howard delivered one of her best two-way games of the season, with 18 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 steals. And it didn't stop there.
Saying that little bunny, just the possession before, comes up through the contact, goes straight to her chest.
Aaliyah Boston held strong in the paint.
Chicago's strong rebounding night as Boston spins and gets it to go.
Odyssey Sims gave them spark plug minutes,
Oh, it's Howard finding Sims, who finishes tight quarters. Just a monumental day for Pacers sports and entertainment. Here's Howard on a kick out. Odyssey Sims hits the three, and Indiana continues to be red hot here.
And Aerial Powers chipped in with relentless energy off the bench.
Powers, shot clock down to 4. Powers pulls up and hits.
In total, 5 different Fever players hit double figures. That balance told the real story. This wasn't about one star. It was about a team buying in. The stat sheet said it all. 27 assists compared to only 9 turnovers. That's efficiency. That's chemistry. That's a team refusing to fold, even with half their roster missing. And all the while, Lexie Hull, face bruised, lip bleeding, became the symbol of it all. Lexie Hull's box score didn't jump off the page, but anyone who watched the game knows she was the story.
Again, Hull catch and shoot, she connects.
Playing through 2 black eyes and a bloody lip turned her into a living symbol of what Indiana basketball has become.
Turner gets inside, kick out, Hull who buries a 3.
Hull wasn't out there chasing sympathy. She wasn't making excuses. She simply showed up, locked in on defense, and refused to come out of the game. Every possession she hounded Chicago's guards, contesting shots, absorbing elbows, and never backing down. Her defense glued the Fever together when so much else was missing. And she's not just a stopgap. Hull is having the best season of her career. Career highs in points, rebounds, steals, assists, and already more than 50 made threes on the year.
Here's Boston. Off to Hull. Her 3 is good.
Third in the league in 3 percentage. You got to stay with it.
Now with 12 points, here's Clark. Look at Shane Corstick. Clark sings a pass. Hull on the wing. Connects.
She's not a role player filling space. She's a rising star, finding her voice at the exact moment the team needed someone to step up. Her head coach, Stephanie White, put it best. She said Hull epitomizes exactly what the Fever want to be: resilient and fearless. That's not just praise. That's recognition that Hull sets the tone for this roster. And then came the moment that sealed it. After the game, reporters asked Hull about the bruises on her face. She smiled and said that every day, the Fever play for their injured teammates, that they fight together no matter what. In one sentence, she captured the identity of this entire Indiana team. Blood, bruises, toughness, and unity. That's the culture Lexie Hull represents. While Indiana was building a culture of toughness, Chicago was crumbling in public. Angel Reese, the face of the Sky and Caitlin Clark's fiercest rival, wasn't even on the court. She'd been suspended after racking up her 8th technical foul of the season, leaving her teammates to face Indiana without their emotional leader. The contrast couldn't have been sharper. On one side, a Fever team missing 5 key players still refusing to fold. On the other, a Sky squad unraveling under the weight of mistakes, fouls, and internal chaos. Fans didn't miss the symbolism. Indiana didn't just beat Chicago, they embarrassed them. A 5-game sweep, with every matchup turning into a reminder of just how far apart these franchises are. Angel Reese's absence only magnified the humiliation. Her team looked lost, while Lexie Hull, battered and bloodied, defined Indiana's dominance. And here's the kicker. This wasn't about Caitlin Clark. For the first time, the Fever proved they could thrive without their superstar. They built an identity that survives even when the spotlight shifts. And that identity just handed Angel Reese and the Sky another crushing defeat. The Fever didn't just win, they sent a message. Their 97-77 blowout wasn't about a single game. It secured control of their playoff destiny. With that victory, Indiana swept the Chicago Sky 5 straight times this season by an average of 24 points. That's the largest season-long point differential between 2 teams in WNBA history. Humiliation doesn't even begin to cover it. At the center of it all was Lexie Hull. Her battered face and bloodied lip became the image of Indiana's rise. She wasn't the leading scorer, but she was the warrior fans couldn't stop talking about. In one night, she turned into the heartbeat of a roster that refuses to quit. And here's the bigger picture. This is just the beginning. The Fever have built a foundation of resilience, balance, and trust. Imagine layering Caitlin Clark back into that when she's healthy. A team already proving they can survive, without her, suddenly gets their superstar back. That's not just scary for Chicago, that's terrifying for the entire WNBA. The contrast with Angel Reese couldn't be sharper. While Reese sat suspended, her team fell apart. While Hull bled for her teammates, the Sky looked disorganized and defeated. Two rookies, two very different paths. One rising into a symbol of toughness, the other drowning in controversy. Lexie Hull didn't just destroy Chicago, she redefined Indiana's identity in front of the world. So here's the question. When Caitlin Clark returns to this version of the Fever, who's going to stop them? If you're still watching, drop Hull the Warrior in the comments to show your support. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because this Fever story is only just getting started.
Ocho, Angel Reese got suspended for the first half of a game, saying her teammates suck. The Sky made a statement saying, the Chicago Sky values the safety, respect, and well-being of every player. We are committed to accountability so our players can stay focused on playing basketball. Because of the statements detrimental to the team made by Angel Reese during a league-mandated media, she will not play in the first half of the game September 7th against the Las Vegas Aces. This matter has been handled and resolved internally, and we're moving forward as a team. Now, mind you, she's suspended for a game because she picked up her 8th technical foul.
Angel Reese just got herself suspended after quitting on the Chicago Sky. Yes, you heard that right.
There's no way in hell I wasn't going to talk about this because, as we know, Angel Reese earlier in the week in an interview threw her Chicago Sky teammates under a bus. It was one of the most me, selfish ass interviews I've ever heard from any athlete, trashing her very own team. Look, the Chicago Sky aren't a good team. They're not. But I will never in a million trillion years believe in publicly drowning your teammates. That should never, not ever happen. So the Chicago Sky have now suspended Angel Reese.
The player once hyped as the next face of women's basketball is now making headlines for all the wrong reasons. She's frustrated, she's pointing fingers, and she just took herself out of the biggest rivalry game of the season.
What an embarrassment. This is the reason I have spent the last few years referring to the WNBA as a dump. This is the reason I don't feel bad when I refer to the WNBA as a toxic turd. Not only have they damn near ruined their opportunity with Caitlin Clark, the dump diver they chose to support, the pretend basketball player they have spent the last 2 years begging you to support. They desperately want her to be accepted. They are desperate to make her a star.
But here's the shocking truth. What if the biggest problem in Chicago isn't the roster Reese called out, but Angel herself? Angel Reese has officially put the Chicago Sky on notice. She told the Chicago Tribune, "Stop bringing me bums to play with. I'm not settling for the same thing we did this year. We have to get good players. We have to get great players. That wasn't a suggestion. That was a demand. She made it clear. If Chicago doesn't overhaul the roster, she doesn't want to be part of it."
Girl, you're my angel. You're my darling. Angel Reese officially puts the Chicago Sky on notice. We're not doing the same thing this offseason that we did last offseason. Stop bringing me bums to play with. Stop bringing me Kia Nurses. Stop bringing me Rebecca Allens. Stop bringing me Ariel Atkins. Don't bring me Courtney Vandersloot, a champion, by the way, two-time champion by the way. Stop bringing me these players. I want the best of the best.
But the fallout was immediate. Teammates were furious. League veterans were stunned. According to reports, a full team meeting had to be called just to handle the chaos from Reese's comments. Think about that for a second. A rookie who hasn't even proven she can dominate at the professional level caused so much division that her team had to organize damage control. That's not leadership. That's dysfunction. And the disrespect didn't stop at vague comments.
Jeff P. put together a horrible team. A horrible team. He banked on a 35-year-old Courtney Vandersloot, Rachel Banham, Kia Nurse. Like, no, you gave away the number 3 pick. You gave away Sonia Citron for Ariel Atkins. The management there is really bad. Tyler Marsh looks like an awful basketball coach. He looks terrible.
Reese singled out Courtney Vandersloot, a 2-time champion and one of the most respected point guards in league history. Even though Vandersloot was out with an ACL injury, Reese brushed her aside as too old and not someone the Sky could rely on. That cut deep.
And of course, Angel Reese made some comments that were none too kind to a legend. Angel Reese will be lucky if she has a third of the career that Courtney Vandersloot has had. And by the way, this has only been out maybe an hour, and I'm seeing responses from Angel Reese fans. They are some of the ugliest, nastiest, ghetto thug responses. I'm going to keep it real. Responses I've ever seen in my life.
Vandersloot sacrificed her own comfort to join Chicago and bring championship experience, and Reese tossed her away like yesterday's news. That move didn't just alienate Vandersloot. It insulted veterans across the league who know she's earned every ounce of respect. But here's where the irony gets painful. The Chicago front office already gave Reese exactly what she wanted. They traded away Sonia Citron, a Rookie of the Year candidate, to bring in Ariel Atkins, an established star with championship experience. That was supposed to be the big move to elevate Reese.
Angel Reese publicly calls out her teammates, publicly calls out her organization, and she has submitted a list of requests. And if these requests aren't met, if these demands aren't met, Sia wouldn't wanna be ya. Stop playing with me. Oh boy, oh boy.
But instead of gratitude, she acted like nothing was ever good enough. And it didn't stop with veterans. Reese's words also cut down younger players like Haley Van Lith, who she dismissed as not capable of leading a playoff team. By the time the Tribune story hit, Reese had managed to alienate the veterans, insult the rookies, and turn herself into the common enemy in the locker room. Instead of rallying her team, she fractured it. Then came the suspension. Reese's attitude wasn't just a problem in the locker room, it showed up on the court too. She picked up her 8th technical foul of the season, earning herself an automatic 1-game suspension. And not just any game. The timing couldn't have been worse.
Lads, Angel Reese is she's probably done with the Sky. Almost certainly done with the Sky. And if we're being honest, nobody's surprised about that. Like, Angel Reese is a player that you can kind of tell that isn't necessarily going to be happy with losing, and doesn't I don't know, it doesn't seem to be the greatest teammate in the world.
The Sky were set to face the Indiana Fever, the matchup fans had been waiting for. Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark. The league wanted it, fans wanted it, but instead of rising to the moment, Reese took herself out of it. Not because of injury, not because of rest, but because of her own lack of discipline. And that's where everything started to collapse. Chicago lost not only their so-called franchise player for a marquee game, but also any sense of stability. Fans were stunned. Analysts pointed out the obvious. This isn't how a star is supposed to act. You're supposed to lift your team. You're supposed to show up when it matters. Reese did the opposite. Now let's look at the numbers. On paper, Reese's stats seem solid. 14 to 15 points a game with double-digit rebounds. But dig deeper and you see the cracks. Despite missing weeks with injury, she still led the entire WNBA in turnovers. That's not dominance. That's reckless play. 20% of her shots inside the paint get blocked. She racks up technical fouls like they're highlights. And when she's off the floor, the Sky actually look better. The ball moves cleaner, the defense tightens up, and the team often plays with more energy. That's the opposite of what a franchise cornerstone is supposed to provide. So let's ask the hard question. Is Angel Reese the WNBA's biggest hoax? The player hyped as a generational star is now looking more like a liability than a leader. Instead of building a championship foundation, she's dragging her team into chaos. Meanwhile, let's talk about the player everyone compares her to, Caitlin Clark. While Reese was busy trashing her teammates, Clark was traveling with the Fever while injured, cheering on her teammates from the bench and showing support no matter what. She even publicly praised Reese after a game instead of feeding into the rivalry drama.
I don't think Angel should be criticized at all. No matter which way it goes, she should never be criticized for what she did. I think everybody knew there was going to be a little trash talk in the entire tournament. It's not just me and Angel. So, like I said, I'm a big fan of hers.
That's professionalism. That's leadership. The contrast couldn't be clearer. Reese criticized her own roster while Clark uplifted hers. Reese stayed home during injury stretches, while Clark stayed present with her team. Reese picked up technical fouls and suspensions, while Clark set an example by keeping her composure in the most intense spotlight the WNBA has ever seen. And that's why Indiana is thriving while Chicago is falling apart. With Clark on the floor, Aaliyah Boston looks like a superstar. Kelsey Mitchell is thriving. Lexie Hull and Sophie Cunningham are finding their rhythm. Clark doesn't just score. She makes everyone around her better. That's what true stars do. That's why the Fever are selling out arenas, landing national TV slots, and building toward the playoffs. Chicago? They're stuck with a fractured locker room, a losing record, and a fan base openly questioning whether Reese even cares about basketball. Instead of elevating the Sky, she's pulled them deeper into dysfunction. Instead of being the solution, she's become the problem. And here's the brutal truth. Maybe the Chicago Sky don't need to rebuild around Angel Reese. Maybe they need to rebuild without her. Because what good are 15 points and 12 rebounds if they come with turnovers, technical fouls, suspensions, and constant drama? So now the question is, has Angel Reese destroyed her own future in Chicago? Or is this the wake-up call the Sky need to finally move on? One thing is certain. While Caitlin Clark is building a legacy as the baby goat, Angel Reese is quickly earning a reputation as the baby giraffe. If you're still watching, drop baby giraffe in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss the next chapter in this WNBA drama.
So, as expected when it comes to Sid Colson and anyone in the WNBA, when it comes to all of them, once you joined the Indiana Fever, the old WNBA fans that loved you, they adored you, they called you the face of the league. But once you joined the Indiana Fever, that is over. That's over.
Caitlin Clark is furious. After the WNBA slapped her Indiana Fever with shocking fines, Clark finally broke her silence, and her words sent shockwaves across the league.
Hey, yo, please tell me y'all saw Caitlin Clark, the GOAT. Y'all saw Caitlin Clark crash out on the bald head ref last night. Please tell me y'all saw this. And she had every right to. And listen, Caitlin Clark spazzed on the referee last night. And I'm not mad about it. I see a lot of the haters talking about, oh, she be doing too much with the man. Mind your business. You are not in a GOAT's place, so stay out of a GOAT's business, okay? It's that simple.
Fans are calling it outrageous. Players are saying it's a scandal. And what's most stunning of all, Clark isn't holding back anymore. But here's the real question. Why would the WNBA punish its biggest star and her team at a time when the league is exploding in popularity? And what does this reveal about a hidden culture of control that the WNBA doesn't want you to see?
Today, one common theme in the WNBA is how poorly officiated these games can be. The lack of competence from the people wearing the striped suits. Every time I watch a WNBA game, a thought crosses my mind when it comes to the officials, and that thought is, how much money do you have on this game? What prop bet did you place prior to suiting up tonight? What's the over/under, and are you concerned with a specific outcome? The officials in the WNBA, yes, they're incompetent, yes, they're trash, but it always seems like there's some shady, they're so bad and so incompetent, it seems like there's shady business taking place behind the scenes.
It all began during a heated matchup between the Indiana Fever and the Los Angeles Sparks. On the surface, it was just another game on the schedule, but the tension on the court told a very different story. Kelsey Mitchell, known for relentlessly attacking the basket, was hammered on drive after drive. Defenders grabbed her, shoved her, even yanked her midair. The crowd saw it. The commentators saw it. The Fever bench saw it. But the one group that refused to see it? The referees.
The officiating was awful last night. I don't know what was going on in that Los Angeles Sparks Indiana Fever game, but the officiating was flat out trash. The LA Sparks got every single call imaginable, and it was just noticeable, to the point you got Caitlin Clark running on the floor ready to crash out on a ref in the middle of the game, to the point where it's obvious. It's obvious. It's like the fix was in. The fix was completely in. So the WNBA needs to do something about this. Kathy Engelberg, you need to get a hold of what's going on here. The officiating Kelsey Mitchell getting knocked around like a damn pinball, shoots 4 free throws.
As the no calls piled up, frustration boiled over. An injured Caitlin Clark, forced to watch from the sidelines, leapt to her feet and screamed, "Call it! Call it!"
Now, just because Caitlin Clark's not playing doesn't mean she's not paying close attention to some of these referees when she's on the bench. And last night against the Los Angeles Sparks, she let my guy Agon Abazi, yeah, that's right, I know this guy's first name and last name. Angela Suffron, I know your first name and last name too. The fact I know these officials by name, that's a little bit concerning within itself. Let's take a look at Caitlin Clark crashing out at a WNBA referee. What's new? What's new? What's new? Oh, there's Leah. You gave them every chance to win. If you look at this in slow motion, you can see Caitlin Clark clearly smiling in confusion, smiling in, did that really just happen? Smiling in, you sly W. And she says, she points at the other team, you gave them every chance to win. Oh, goodness gracious.
Her voice cut through the arena, raw with anger. Her teammate Lexie Hull protested too, and the refs instantly slapped her with a technical foul.
Yeah, school did just start. Mitchell, meanwhile, doesn't let it deter her. And we're going to get a technical foul here against Indiana. So Mitchell gets the bucket, but Lexie Hull called for a technical foul from the bench.
Think about that. A blatant foul goes unpunished, but questioning the injustice earns you a penalty. The message was crystal clear. Silence your frustration or pay the price. By the end of the game, fans were asking the same thing Caitlin was. Who were the refs really protecting?
The officiating is flat out atrocious. Everybody else is getting calls. I think it's ridiculous. Just the fact that Aaliyah Boston shot 0 free throws tells you everything in itself. Let's take a look at Caitlin Clark losing it on these referees. Sydney Colson chimed in. There was a lot going on.
If the chaos on the court wasn't enough, the real bombshell came after the game. Fever guard Sydney Coulson, sidelined with an injury, took to Twitter and let loose. She wrote, "At a certain point in the league's existence, I'm a need for Kelsey Mitchell to get the same whistle as other stars. The way she gets assaulted is insane. I've considered roping my sister in to pursue charges. That tweet alone would have rattled the league."
Okay, this is kind of where everything started at with Sydney Colson. So this is the timeline here. Let me get this pulled up here. This is interesting. I didn't know she said all that today. Okay, this is interesting here. She started off last night by saying, at a certain point in the league's existence, I'm going to need for Kelsey Mitchell to get the same whistle as each other stars. The way she gets assaulted is insane, actually. And I've considered roping my sister in it to have office purse charges.
But then came Caitlin Clark. She saw Coulson's post and fired back with just 5 words. "Careful, you're going to get fined."
Caitlin Clark said, "Careful, you're going to get fined." Then Sydney Colson said, "I can't get no more fine."
It wasn't a joke. It was a warning, a cold confirmation of what players whisper about but rarely say out loud. Speak up, and the league will hit your wallet. Coulson's reply only added fuel to the fire. "I can't get no more fine." That cryptic line suggested she'd already been punished behind closed doors and had simply reached her breaking point. At that moment, the curtain lifted. Fans could see what the WNBA tried so hard to hide, an environment where players live under constant threat of financial intimidation. For anyone tempted to dismiss this as a one-off controversy, think again. There's a disturbing pattern here. Take Sophie Cunningham. She's been fined multiple times, not for violence, not for crossing a line on the court, but simply for speaking her mind. One fine came after she posted a TikTok joking about referees being incompetent. Another came when she discussed officiating inconsistencies on her own podcast. And the most damning? A fine for pointing out how rookie Paige Buchers was getting every whistle, while Fever guards like Mitchell and Clark were being mauled with no calls. Even Fever head coach Stephanie White has been fined for calling the officiating egregious. When coaches, players, and even stars like Clark all say the same thing, it's no longer coincidence. It's culture, and the numbers prove it. This season, Caitlin Clark has been the target of an unbelievable 17% of all flagrant fouls in the entire WNBA. One player, one rookie, absorbing nearly 1/5 of the league's most dangerous plays. If this happened in any other workplace, there'd be an investigation. In the WNBA, it's just part of the game. But here's where the WNBA may have made its biggest mistake. They underestimated Caitlin Clark's fan base. The moment Clark warned Coulson about fines, fans flooded social media offering to pay those fines themselves.
Then Lynn Dunn chimed in on this. So Lynn Dunn stated this right here. So Lynn Dunn stated, "Agree, I will help pay the fine." So that's what Lynn Dunn stated yesterday about the fines. And Caitlin Clark said, "Love it. Everyone listen to Lynn."
The movement grew even louder when Lynn Dunn, a respected former executive, tweeted she would personally chip in to cover costs. Suddenly, it wasn't just players versus the league, it was players plus an army of fans against a system of silence. The league's attempt to control the narrative backfired spectacularly. Instead of crushing dissent, they ignited it. Instead of silencing players, they amplified them. And instead of protecting their image, they exposed their hypocrisy. This scandal is no longer about a single game, a single tweet, or even a single fine. It's about the very soul of the WNBA. The league wants to market its stars as strong, inspiring, fearless women. But when those women speak up against injustice, the league punishes them into silence. It's a contradiction so glaring that fans can't ignore it anymore. Caitlin Clark's fury has ripped the mask off. Fans now see a league at war with itself, one side clinging to control, the other demanding accountability. And here's the truth. The WNBA can't win this fight by silencing its players. The growth of the league, the ratings, the sellouts, the headlines, didn't come from the front office. It came from Caitlin Clark, from Angel Reese, from Kelsey Mitchell, from the players who risk everything on the court. By trying to muzzle them, the league is only fueling a rebellion, one that could reshape women's basketball forever. Caitlin Clark's fury isn't just a reaction to a fine. It's a warning shot, a declaration that the days of silence are over. The players are ready to fight back, and this time they've got millions of fans standing right beside them. So what do you think? Did the WNBA cross the line by fining the Indiana Fever, or are Clark and her teammates exposing something much bigger? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from you. And if you're still watching, comment Clark fights back, so I know you made it to the end. Because this story, it's just getting started.